Oh, good morning if you're live, and good evening, afternoon, or night if you're not live. And welcome to the Medium channel. Welcome to Tarot Time. This is Adam at your service. And it's a beautiful Sunday morning here in the Catskill Mountains. I'm in a good mood. I haven't even had breakfast yet. Well, I had an orange. I don't know if that counts as breakfast or not. No, it doesn't actually. Um, Breakfast for me is unsweetened full fat yogurt, oats, walnuts, and fruit. So that's my breakfast every day. So I'm a little boring that way, but there's a reason for that. But anyway, you're not here to for me to talk about my dietary habits. We're here to talk about the tarot and what's going on this week. And it's been very, very action packed and very charged energetically, as many of you are aware of that. And a lot of what we've been saying the last few weeks actually have come to pass. So, when we work with tarot, it's divination. It's more about knowledge and insight and creating our own future, or doing what we can to make the best out of the situation. But of course, there is a predictive aspect to it as well. So I usually wait a minute or two if you're watching live, just for the if you're watching as a video, just for the live people to get their notifications and come in. So quick hellos to MT, to Susan, Yvonne, Judy, Colleen, Codwoke, Colleen again, and anybody else that's here. And if anybody's new, please give us a shout. Where in the world you are. And of course, the USA is about to celebrate a birthday. Now, on the Medium channel, we're about, at last check, 82% of subscribers here are Americans. That means 18% of you are from another country, basically. But what happens in the US, because we're one of the major hubs of the world, not the only one, and we don't want to be what's the word, like nation centric or nationally egocentric or whatever. But what happens here does have a ripple effect on the world. So we're going to talk a little bit about that because it's relevant for a couple of reasons. And then we do our meditation card for the week that's appropriate for the energies for this community. And then we do a little 3 card spread just to kind of pick up on how the energy's flowing this week. So it's sort of like a psychic, energetic forecast of what's going on. And then I have other divination tools like animal cards, angel cards. So we do it all here. And again, it's Sunday morning. We're live. We're healthy, or relatively healthy. Hopefully, we're all healthy. But we are here. We're awakening, and we're here to help make a difference and so forth. So it's always good to have gratitude no matter what. And no matter what's going on, there's something to be grateful for. And since we're talking about America a little bit, the so-called, they're one of the so-called richest countries in the world, but we still have close to 50% of the population living at or below the poverty level. And of course, those numbers are rising as the financial systems continue to collapse and fall down, so that better, sustainable systems can come into its place. Now, of course, those that are in control of things are aware that the financial systems are collapsing, and in fact they want that to happen, but for different reasons than we may want that to happen, because we want to build a society that has more spiritual values and build on that foundation. But the powers that be that control the flow of money, the corruption and everything, it's more about getting us more under their control to basically plug us into the next phase of this whole grand plan that's been enacted over, well, for decades, really, if not centuries. But we've really been seeing it over the last several years, obviously. So basically, there's a plan to kind of assimilate us, so to speak, into a metaverse, more of a metaverse oriented society, more of like being plugged into technology and stuff like that. And so we talked for a long time. I don't know how long, but I think at least a year, if not longer, about how society is going to split, and we're starting to see that happening. And there's those of us that really want to maintain our spiritual values and develop more as human beings, and there's those that are going to, kind of chase the next shiny new toy, so to speak. But that's a lot of that is the conditioning and the programming and everything. So getting back to tarot, I often like to talk a little bit about, a little mini tutorial, and I'll use the USA as an example. So we are tomorrow's the official birthday, and in numerology, we have numbers for every year. So every birthday, we go into a new personal year in numerology. So the USA is going from a 16/7 year, which is a Neptune ruled year that we're coming out of, into a 17/8 year. So it's a 17 year. You add up the number 7, the number 4, and 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 2, you get 17. And that reduces to 8. So that's Saturn roots. That's all about the systems. A lot of it's about finance, but Saturn kind of is the glue that holds things together, so to speak. I mean, Saturn gets a little bit of a bad rap sometimes in astrology because it's about, lessons and hard work and discipline and blah 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 and so forth. But it's also really it's a kind of a binding force, if you will, and it helps us to have some structure in our lives as well as in society. And because it's aid, it's a lot of it's about money and finance and law and stuff like that. So what happens in a 16/7 year? Well, 16 is the tower, or it's the in Chaldean numerology, the symbol is the lightning struck citadel. But in tarot, key 16 is the tower card. Basically means the same thing. And in fact, all the major arcana cards from 10 to 21 are all have an overlapping meaning to the numerology in the old Chaldean system of numerology. So what's the number 7? That's Neptune. There's a lot of delusions. There's a lot of illusion, but it's the tower. A lot of the systems have been falling down over the past year. Now, it's not going to magically shift, but the energy and the flavor does change this year, and it goes into the number 17. 17, like I said, it's Saturn ruled, but it's also the star, and the star is actually ruled by Aquarius in the tarot. And in fact, I just happen to have the star card close by. In fact, I also have a Native American version of the star card. Both are key 17. One has the spider in the web, and that is the stars, and then the other one is the star. And basically, in tarot, that's about hope. It's about inspiration. It's Aquarian ruled, actually. But the planet Saturn is associated with Aquarius. Like before Uranus was discovered, Saturn was considered the ruling planet of Aquarius. Is Sharita on? Am I right? Oh no, Sharita's not on. Sharita's my fact checker when she's on, but she's not. I'm pretty sure I'm right though. So there's that Saturnian thing, but the star's all about hope and inspiration and optimism. But because Uranus plays in, and Uranus is an important player anyways in what's going on with the aspects of astrology through the um the Aquarius rulership. Uranus is the ruling planet of Aquarius. Um, yeah, Uranus likes surprises, and it's very revolutionary. And I think one of the things that we're going to see, I mean, I feel like there's going to be a lot of positive spiritual movements, a lot of groups forming, coming together, more of that. And at the same time, it can be very revolutionary. So we may start to see more in the way of like internal battles, or even the word revolutionary war or civil war may be thrown out there as the year goes on. But again, it's very hopeful energy. But we have to understand that there's still a lot happening. The other thing is that we are in a Pluto return. So Pluto return in the USA basically means that we're having a death rebirth experience in this country. So all these unsustainable systems, all these unfair systems, they're falling away, and we're seeing a lot of that. And of course, there's still that measure of programming, so our attention's being diverted in one way, but there's a lot of demonstrations we don't hear about. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, and uh, behind all the focus on the January 6th trials and all of that, and whatever else, the war in Ukraine and everything. We miss a lot. We miss the whole systemized colonization of Africa and South America, for example, which is really being done through a centralized government. Although people like to blame China because it's actually China's doing a lot of this, a lot of the colonization, but it's not really that. That's again, that's, to me, at least my belief, it's more of a smokescreen than anything. But it's a shifting and a shifting of a new world order that's been going on, and there's a lot of colonization. We have to get prepared for what's coming, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, or create the best, may be a better way of putting this, rather than hoping. Let's put our intention in making this a smooth transition, because at the other end of it is a mass awakening, and it's a reforming of what's wrong or what's been wrong, not just with this country, but with the whole world for a long time. So that's what awaits the other end. So we have to kind of see, even though unfortunately a lot of suffering, a lot of turmoil is the result, but we're trying to change a whole mindset, like a whole, like, systemized programming of the masses. And anytime there's a big change like that, unfortunately people will suffer, and we have to understand that because a lot of this is going to be about money, because we're in that Saturn ruled USA. And it, again, it's affecting, not just the country, but the whole financial structure of the world. We have to understand that money's going to continue to be devalued. uh Inflation, recession, we're going to go through these cycles. We have to also understand that the monetary system of the world is basically a debt-based system. So most people are in debt, and even the whole thing about legal tender or whatever, like when you're paying for services, it's a debt that you're paying with money. It's like you're provided like food, or you're provided a service. So the monetary exchange is paying a debt back for those services. If that makes any sense. And that's just again a lack mentality way of looking at things, but that's how we are basically programmed by the whole financial system and the other systems here in the world. And basically, as we go into this Aquarian, into the 17, this beautiful star energy, and beyond that, your money becomes more of an exchange for value, and whatever value we put out in the world, then we create our money and our wealth that way. Again, not so much an exchange or for a debt, but actually as a system of value. And I think, with that mindset, we start to lose that whole programming of lack mentality, and we're aware that money is energy, and like all energy, it exists in abundance. And creating that form of money, that's where the alchemy comes in. So, the other thing is, again, it's all being controlled, manipulated, and the idea is for us to, basically, follow along with the plan of things that's going to benefit a select few, while 99.99 percent of the people have to suffer the results of that. And one of the things that you can look at is that presently, what is it, about 80%, I think, of all currency, like dollar bills, $100 bills, are less than 2 years old. And that just kind of again shows that they're creating money. And when you create more money, you create inflation. and the inevitable result of inflation is that there's going to be a recession. And the idea that everything's going up, that gas is going up, which means food's going up, and we're seeing a very disproportionate amount of fires and destructions around food producing facilities. We're seeing a lot of shelves empty now, and there's a prospect of diesel fuel running out, or becoming scarce, and that going up. But again, we have to learn how to make adjustments and learn how to be more sustainable. And what we see on grocery store shelves, most of that's not food anyway. And the really one of the tragic things is that I think it's 70% of Americans are on some form of prescription medication. Whereas if we ate real foods, and we had a healthy mind, we would, that probably 90 to 99% of illness would be either improved upon or eradicated. So again, so that's basically what Spirit's downloading now. So let me do a meditation card and get more into tarot stuff. And I'll peek at your comments for a second. Okay, I'm missing on a whole conversation here. Oh well, okay. We're starting to blink out. So if my picture freezes again, that's been going on lately. I apologize in advance. So I'm starting to see the first signs of the flickering screen. Okay, so let's do our meditation card for the week, and gosh, if I do start, it's going to be, I'll have to describe the cards if we can't see them. Oh boy. So guys, let me know. Are I haven't frozen, right? You can still see me. No prescriptions here. Good for you, Claire. I have to admit, I still take actually two of my prescription meds, but I've cut way down on them, and I've healed a lot. All right, so meditation card for the week. So we got away from the court cards. We were getting them every week. This is a victory card, actually. So this has a really nice meaning. Everything. So you guys seeing me? Still see you moving. Great. Okay. Hopefully that'll remain. My screen is glitching out big time. Yeah, again, MDR, I mean, that's not to say, some people need their prescription. It's just the percentage is what's alarming. Again, we all have our, health needs or whatever. So, nobody should feel bad by me saying that if your situation is such that you do have to take your prescription medicines. Nothing wrong with that. All right, so the way to meditate, just kind of step in the card. I mean, if you want to. I mean, there's the guy here on the horse. It's the Six of Wands. There's a guy walking there. Sometimes these figures are your spirit guides or your messengers. So you can step in and just see what's going on around there. Are they in the desert? Are they is the horse in water? We don't know that because we can't see. But when you step in the card, you can see the whole scene, or feel the whole scene, as the case may be. So that's how we meditate with card. It's tarot, or one way. Get relaxed, step into the card. Feel the energy. It's always good to do a little bit of an energy attunement. And a way to do that is when you step in, what do you feel, like emotionally, and physically too? What do you feel? Maybe you get colors, because colors are energy, or maybe you hear music in your mind, that's energy, or you feel warmth or cool. But do a little energy attunement, and then see what message you can get. You can either see yourself, or well, either picture yourself, and again, I know not everybody's visual, but or feel yourself walking or riding with this figure and having a conversation, see what messages you get. So this also has a really beautiful meaning, also for us as well. So let me put this back in the deck. I want to do our 3-card spread and just see and talk about maybe any insights that Spirit wants to give us. again, I'm not, a fortune teller. I'm not going to say, next Thursday, the earthquake's going to hit in Bombay or anything like that. There's people that are good at that. I'm more of a healer and a teacher and a medium than a prognosticator. However, that said, I do get a good feel about the future also. But we all can, because all time happens in the present, and what we do in the present shapes the future. So the more we can be in love, and the more we can be in gratitude, the more our future is going to reflect that, and the more we can do that on a collective level, the easier this transition is going to be. I mean, everything's going to change. That's a given. It's already happened. As a collective consciousness, we can do this the easy way, and we can do this the hard way. But because humans are very locked into their primitive survival instincts and don't like change and don't like to let go and resist, humans tend to do things the hard way. But we can learn, we can evolve, and we can grow. Um, and we have a mind, we have will, we can override the body's instincts. We have that ability. That's called spiritual growth, by the way. That's why we meditate. Why people have a hard time sitting still, because they either get anxious, or they can't stop their thoughts or whatever. Well, that's why we meditate, to start to discipline the mind through our will and through our connection to spirit. And the more present that you can be, the more open you are, not just to being aware of what's going on physically, but also being aware of what's going on spiritually. So we're flickering like mad, but hopefully you guys can still see me. I don't know, if I sat any closer to my router, I'd be sitting on my router. So I don't know. When I complained to StreamYard about it, they said, make sure you're close to the router, blah blah blah, whatever. I'm like, I am close to the router. Um, or is it called the router? I say router. Maybe you say router. I don't know. Anyway, let me just clear my mind so that I can allow spirit to pull the cards through me. Tarot is a form of channeling too, and we connect with spiritual forces when we do tarot. In some sects of religion, it has a bad reputation, but it's all what's in our hearts. So anything can be used for good or for ill. But the spirits want to help us. They want to guide us. All right, clearing my mind. I'm seeing a dog. The dogs represent helpers. They represent allies. Um, the other thing about the number 17 and the USA going into its personal 17 years, it's very community oriented also. And I think we're going to see this year, not just here in the US, but in a lot of different countries, a lot of conscious community, a lot of joining. I mean, that's part of our sustainability also. Less reliance on the automated system, more getting back to our spiritual values as human beings on this planet, basically. um interesting because that Six of Wands comes up again, and then the Six of Swords comes up. So there's a lot of six energy, and then the four of Pentacles. So last couple of weeks the cards were very charged. The energy's been very charged. It's been very charged in the news, and people are more, I'm seeing that sense of like collective violence in the air. Like I can take a walk here. I'm in the middle of the boonies, and then taking a walk the other night, and this truck started to come up, and I just felt like this is bad energy. And I looked in the truck, and there's these four young guys there, that were drunk, I believe, also, and just shooting all this negative energy out, like because I'm different, or I represent something that they're against. I mean, I could sense that they kind of wanted to get out of the their truck and beat me up, basically. But of course, I've been a martial artist for many years. I mean, I think they would have been in for a surprise or so, with this small 125-pound man kicking their butt. But anyway, so that's beside the point. But point that I'm trying to make is that it's that kind of energy. It's in the collective. It's really, really charged. We need to, unless it's unavoidable, stay out of that confrontational energy, basically, and really be in our heart, be in our power. And then, if the battle comes to us, be capable of greater war than the other party or the other person. That's really what warriorship is about. It's really about, your integrity, your truth, standing in your truth, standing in your power, being impeccable with your words and actions, being of honor, and being able to back it up if you have to. We live, we're still of a very primitive mindset, and with all the technology and advances, we can still see that the mass consciousness is still in a primitive mindset. We need to know how to overcome adversity, or how to take the battle to any level. So whether the battle's physical. Oh, we froze. Oh, wonderful. All right. Well, on the frozen screen, that you can still see the cards, so that's kind of cool. You just won't be able to see the last things that I pull. So sorry about that. It happened again. Oh my goodness gracious. Um. Anyway, but you can hear me fine. I'm sure. Yes. Uh. So Claire's saying to press the like button. Thank you. Yes, press the like button. But at least on the screen you see the 3 cards, so it could have been worse, and you can still hear me just fine. Um, so other than that, you have six. You have 6 energy. It's Venus ruled, so we have 2 sixes. It's about compassion. There's a lot of movement that's shown. In the the 6 of rods is on horseback. The 6 of swords is on water, and then the 4 of pentacles is also really, a lot of that's really trying to hold on to what we have already, and stuff like that, and what we are and what we have, and to stay in our sovereignty and stay in our truth. The one that I'm noticing with the 4 of swords, which is that the second pentacle from the top, that's right around the person's heart, and he's just kind of holding that in his heart, basically, with the 2 pentacles at the feet. Now, pentacles represent the earth. They also can represent money and security. So I think people are going to, I think one of the meanings is that there may be more news from the feds that's a little bit disturbing around money, whether it's like the interest rate going up, or another report about inflation through the roof, or another gas hike, or whatever it is. People forget, because of the all the things with the pharmaceutical companies and the big tech being front and center, that the oil companies are still some of the richest countries in the world, and the corporations have more money than countries do, and the U.S. is actually, I believe, we're the biggest producer of crude oil in the world, and production has almost doubled in the last year, by the way. But we import a third of our oil to other countries. Now, meanwhile, Russia. Um, oh, so now you don't see the cards anymore. I've been, yeah, but you can still hear me, okay. Um, but in any regards, let me gather my thoughts here. Um, this is what's been going on with these live streams. It's been a little bit disconcerting lately. Perhaps it's some censorship. Who knows what's going on? But in any event, so we talk about the oils. Russia, I think, produces about 7% of the world's oil. So blaming Russia on higher gas prices is ridiculous at best, and insulting at worst, I want to say. Um, and when you trade on the international market, it all becomes international rules, and then the oil companies are the ones that gouge the prices, or gauge the prices, I guess, of international trade. So anyway, long story short, there's a lot of smoke screens, and there's a lot of pressure for us to, again, you feel the pinch, you feel the economic pinch. I think that's what the 4 of Pentacles is trying to tell us in the cards. and to know that we have to expand with the heart, and know that there's still plenty. And your worst comes to worst, there's ways of getting food. Get into your local communities. If you're not growing food yourself, you'll be part of it, be part of your local community. But the cards don't look bad. We may get a little bit of relief in terms of some of the intense news and things that have been going on. But I also feel like there's going to be some major flooding somewhere. I mean, there usually is, especially in the summertime. I want to say Texas. I don't know if they're getting a lot of rain down there, but that just popped up in my mind. I think that's part of the water that's coming up. All right, so in any event, what else can I see from this? Being that you guys can't see me anymore, um, which I think means there's a bunch of you tuned out already. But the other thing I'm seeing with the Six of Wands is that the figure it's kind of a victory thing, but we have to remember to share the wealth also, wealth of knowledge, wealth of experience, and everything that's involved with that, or everything like that. Um, it's somebody's talking about HARP, which is a weather modification. That's been going on for a while. You're right, Leia. So 11:29, you could see the card. Come 11:33, I don't think you can, unless it's just something that's happening on mine. So being that it's now 11, I don't know, 34, 11:35. I don't know if you guys can see the cards still, but anyways, anything else it's trying to tell us? Yeah, I think the other thing is again, go more into your spiritual practices, into your meditations, stuff like that. This is the time to work on that. So I'm going to do a Native American card also. Unfortunately, you all won't see it, but I'll describe. Hey, whoa, what happened? I'm back. Oh, thank you. Whoever put the prayers out there to get my picture back. Thank you. It worked. All right. So here are the cards again. Cool. Uh, Boom. Yay. Boom. Okay. Uh, so collective prayer works. Just to let you know, this is a sign. The collective prayer works and everything. Um, All right. Anything else? I'm gonna do my Native American card. I mean, I may glean more meanings from the tarot cards from that. But again, I say this every week, so I'm a bit of a broken record. But understand the news is here more to distract us from what's really going on. Don't get too, I mean, the thing with Roe versus Wade, and the further assault on women, or however you view that. I mean, yes, we should take life sacred, and all of that, but the lives of pregnant women are no less sacred than unborn fetuses. But anyway, the point being, it's not even about that. Again, it's about seizing more control, creating more division, creating more strife, more anger, more fear. That's what it's all about, and we've seen that, and more people are waking up. And amidst what's going to be the heart of the Pluto return, 2022 into 2023, the fall and next winter are really going to be, once we get there, we'll know, how bad or how changeable it's going to be by then. But again, the potential of there being either food or supplies being unaffordable, or too scarce, which would again force people that are unprepared to be basically online for like government handouts, basically, is what that would amount to. And people killing each other for water or for food. On the western part of the USA, water may run out if the mega drought doesn't reverse soon. But again, a lot of this, it's trying to bring your society to its needs, to at least in my opinion on it, or might take to seize further control. So, you know, the more we can be in control of our own destiny. So, again, prepare, for the possible worst. Create the best. Yeah, and it's good to have supplies. I find the more prepared I am for an event, the less it happens. Whenever I really prepare for weather events, it's always been less severe than what could have been. So again, the more of us that awaken, the more of us that connect in community, the easier the transition is. We talk about the tearing down or the breakdown of the systems of society, but that's actually a good thing. We want that, actually, because it's not a fair system, but the transition is tough. So that's why we don't like change. So I'm kind of talking a little bit in circles this morning, but that's okay. I know you love me anyway. um, all right, I need to clear my mind before I pull this card. I'm seeing a lion, so that's somehow that's a message for us also. Lions about overcoming. Didn't we get Sundance last week, or no? I think last week we got the Life Weaver, and the week before we got Sundance, and the Sundance ceremony is very sacred. It teaches us that we're more than flesh and blood, because the Sundancers, in the traditional sense, and I need to research this a little further. And by the way, if I say anything that's not 100% accurate, I'm counting on you guys to correct me. But I do believe in Sundance ceremony that you hang from the tree for 4 days. Um, I've seen in some traditions it's like through like a hook, so it's like there's a piercing that happens also, and um and you transcend. It's not like don't try this at home. It's like don't you know hang from a tree for 4 days. This is done in ceremony. You have support from very powerful shamanic energies when you're doing this, but the idea is you transcend the human needs. Your bodies can survive longer than science believes, but you have to transition into another frequency or another vibration for that to happen. That's why there are isolated stories of people that have survived like months without food in the woods, or weeks without water, or maybe not weeks, but because sooner or later the physical body would dehydrate. But the point being is that when people do Sundance, they do the sweat lodges where you sweat everything out and don't have food or water for 4 days. But meanwhile, the scientists will tell you that they you can't go more than 3 days without water, but they do it, and they sweat also, and they do again. So it's a trend. It's basically, again, Sundance. We're in the summer. The thing is, what I'm seeing in this in relation to the other cards is don't be afraid of dying. We lose the fear of living when we lose the fear of dying. We're not these bodies. We're immortal spirits having human experiences, and the more we can own that, not just as an intellectual thing, like me or somebody just saying, oh yeah, we're not our flesh. That doesn't mean anything, because it's just words, it's just talk. But when you connect with your spirit, starting with the heart, where you do your meditation and feel who you truly are, beyond any doubt that you're not your body, that your consciousness is going to live, and your soul is going to go on. And that's one of the things that Sundance teaches us. It's about the wheel of the year. It's about the medicine wheel, and how when we walk, walk the wheel, say there's a feather in the middle of a circle, and I'm in the back of it. I see the feather from a certain vantage point. It may look long and thin, but if I go to the side, it looks fat and stubby, basically. But it's the same feather. It's just my vantage point has changed. And that's, I think, what we have to understand, that we see and perceive things based on our personal vantage points. That's our programming. It's our soul's perceptions. It's our past life programming. So to me, an orange is different than you, and everything is energy. So understand that also, that we have an operating system as human beings where we perceive form out of energy, but it's all different wavelengths, all different bandwidths of energy, all different frequencies. So everything that we see and perceive is not real. It's an illusion. It's how we as humans in this time and place are perceiving the different energies that affect us, basically. So the idea with this is really getting out of the illusion and understanding who we truly are. And of course it's the summertime, and again, now that I can show you, there's an animal skull here. He's hanging. There's, in some of the traditions, there's a piercing. You can go back. You can see how there's a correlation or a relationship with different religions and schools of thought that never knew each other. Because look at the story of Jesus hanging from the cross and then being resurrected from the grave, basically. Uh, could it be that in his lineage they had a similar ceremony to Sundance, and when he was crucified, or and people, scholars believe it was more on a tree than a cross. Could it have been that was his shamanic, their equivalent of shamanic ceremony for him to transcend the illusion of life and death and to become a stronger teacher? There's a lot of evidence. I don't know, because again, we can only go by what we feel, what we remember from other lifetimes and what's written, but there's a lot of evidence that supports that Jesus did not die on the cross. And again, this is nothing against the beliefs, the tradition of Catholicism. It's just an idea, basically. It's a possibility that maybe it's symbolic. Maybe it wasn't a literal death. Maybe. Anyways, but I see a lot of parallels between Sundance and the crucifixion, especially the resurrection part of that. I want to say, hello, Muriel, and welcome. Thank you, and you too. I'm just peeking your comments. All right. So anyway, so here's another peek at Sundance. That corresponds to the hangman in the tarot, key 12. In Chaldean numerology, 12 is the sacrifice. So when we come into the hangman in the fool's journey, it's sort of like we have to surrender something to further our growth and further our progress or process. This week, think about what maybe you could do without. Maybe do a little bit of fasting. Again, in the Sundance ceremony, 4 days without food or water. So maybe do a little bit of fasting. Maybe this is the time to train our bodies to do with less food. Most Americans and people of European descent eat about 3 times the amount of food that they need. And that also contributes to health problems. We don't need as much food as we think we do. And if we ascend and we change our frequency and vibration, our body starts to change from being more carbon based, well, to being more diamond, like carbon turns to diamond. So we become more crystalline, and we can become airtarians. That's a real thing. I knew 2 of them so far in my life. Both of them, they told me that maybe once or twice a month they may have a small morsel of food or whatever, but for the most part they don't eat. And some of them have very, very little water. And our bodies can attune to that vibration and frequency where we no longer need food. We don't need to be relying on that. Now, I'm not suggesting that we all become airtarians. I mean, we're at the level that we're at. Eating and food's a pleasure to me, and I'm sure it is to you also. But learn to do with less. I think that's part of the meaning of Sundance coming up, which fits in with the hangman and the tarot. So I've for my animal divination card, I went back to Steve Farmer's messages from your animal spirit guide. So this is the box of the deck. Usually I use the medicine card, but I wanted to switch back to this and everything. And let's pull what messages we get from our animal totems, or what animal that we get for the week. All right. we got peacock, which is an interesting choice. You've turned this, you guys can actually see that. Peacocks are colorful. Let yourself stand out and be noticed. Okay, I think the message is, there's so much scrutiny. I'll tell you, I don't even want to say dark side, because that kind of puts this idea that the dark is negative. It's part of our vernacular and part of our programming. I mean, yeah, the everything came from the void, everything came from the darkness. But there's another side to being on YouTube. And I of course I only have like 3,000 subscribers and change. This is still a very small operation here, but I still get, that in order to do this work, I put myself out there, and I'm subject to a lot of scrutiny, and I'm subject to a lot of criticism. I'm subject to a lot of negativity. I don't mind. That's fine. I can handle it. I'm a very sensitive soul, and at first, it bothered me. And I mean, I'm still human. I don't like it, and I don't want to deal with that energy. But we cannot be afraid to let our power show. We all have ideas. We all have knowledge to share. We all have experiences that are unique to you. There's things that and experience that I can learn from that I don't know, and vice versa. We have to not be afraid to let our light shine, and be subject to possible criticism. Now, that doesn't mean to go out of your way and to freak everybody out and to invite that in. We still, in this time, need to stay in our own lane as much as possible. We need to stay in the eye of the storm as much as possible. But don't be afraid to let yourself be noticed. Again, this isn't saying to be a narcissist and all that kind of stuff. It's that you have a message you can teach. But if you have a fear of being more visible and people noticing you more, then you're not going to be effective in that. So I just have very specific intentions with my channel, and yes, I want to develop it and grow it, and bring in more followers, and that helps my business. That helps me financially also. But primarily, we want to be a beacon of light, and we want to be able to guide people. So I set an intention that the people that come to this channel are the ones that are ready for the information, that are teachers themselves, whether they know it or not, or light workers or way showers or whatever. So that includes all you guys. So anyway, don't be afraid to stand out a little bit. I want to say, all right, next. So I have a different angel deck. It's still Doreen Virtue, but this one's called Angel Therapy cards. I don't have, oh yeah, I do have the box. Okay. So that's the box that these come from. Also, so usually I do messages from the angels. I have to buy a few new angel decks. I want to get something that's not Doreen Virtue. I love her. Even if she's changed her perspective on things over the years, I still love what she bought us. So anyhow, okay. So this is what we got: integrity. So that kind of goes along the lines of our animal message. Align your actions so that they match your values and inner knowingness of what's right for you. So, I think part of this message is that there's so much pressure to conform and everything, that it's, guilting and shaming is alive and well. That's been a primary mode of control of the masses for centuries, millennia even. We can even go back to Roman times and see that as well, and biblical times and everything. So, again, the idea is, we want to be in our power, in our truth, and in our integrity and everything. Let me see, what else is she trying to tell us? Line your actions so that they match your values and inner knowingness of what's right for you. So, again, not to let others tell you what's right for you. Trust your heart, trust your intuition. do what's right for you, be willing to learn. Sometimes what we think is intuition is subconscious programming. So if you make a mistake, you learn from the mistakes, and you start to learn how to feel the difference between what's coming from your heart and coming from spirit versus what's coming from your ego, which may be subconscious things, things that are trapped in the subconscious. The desire to conform, the desire to fit in, being that that's a survival instinct for humans, because we've needed for 200,000 years of modern humans, we've needed to be in a group in order to survive. So there's that psychology involved that we always want to fit in, but it's a survival instinct. Once we again connect to who we are as spirit, we can override these lower primitive instincts that's part of our being. Nothing wrong with it. I'm not equating the word primitive with negative, by the way, because it's not. It is what it is. It's part of our evolution and growth. So you want to embrace the primitive part of ourselves, but we want to evolve past that, basically. But anyway, we probably ran a little over today, like usual. So I think we're gonna get going. Have a wonderful holiday for those that celebrate the 4th. Again, getting out of that tower energy, the 16-year, and getting into the star energy is really huge. Doesn't mean that everything's gonna be great this year, and it was horrible last year, but it's a good energy to work on and work with at this time, and I feel like it's going to allow more awakening and uh, more connecting, with people that have like values and like minds. So, again, look for your conscious communities. I mean, this is a conscious community right here, but also look for your local communities as well. Especially if the food crisis really hits the potential of what it could be. We're going to need that connection in order to feed ourselves and survive. And again, not to be on government lines for hours to get handouts and stuff like that. So anyway, lots of love to you all. Thank you for being here. By the way, I might as well throw this out there, and I'll leave this in the pinned comments, that I'm in the process of doing my law of attraction work to manifest $10,000, and I'm not asking you guys for money or anything, but I am going to add a donation option, because what I want to do is create free and low cost online courses. And in order for me to do that, I need to take a sabbatical from my paying job, which is doing readings, and then get that professionally done. So I'll leave a link if anybody wants to donate to that cause, and it through a Venmo account, and that's going to go into a different account. So any money that I get from that is going to go strictly into operations for the Medium channel, as well as producing online courses that hopefully a lot of people will benefit from in the future. So I'll just leave a link for that. And again, one way or another, I'm gonna manifest this money and make it happen. So when we do law of attraction work, we want to allow there to be multiple avenues for our desires to manifest into reality. So anyway, just figured I mention that, and thank you again. And I love you. Be well. And you see, I'm in my summer clothes today. So anyways, happy summer.